Hey, I'm Danielle, and today we are talking about money mindset. What is money mindset? Well, with anything in your life, what you believe determines a lot of other things. So what you believe about money determines a lot of other things. I'm just starting to learn about this, and really, like, what you believe affects the thoughts in your head, and the thoughts in your head affect the actions you take, and the actions you take affect the results in your life. So I'm listening to a podcast right now about this while I take the pup for a walk, and I'm really just trying to consume a lot of content around this right now. I'm reading a book related to it, and this one's about abundance and the abundance mindset. So yeah, listening to this podcast, reading that book, and just trying to learn more and more about money mindset and how to break outside of sort of what you believe you can earn and what you deserve and what money means and all that stuff. So I think there's a lot of interesting work to be done here, and I am excited to dig in. Alright, I'm back, and I've got a handful of books here, which I'll explain in a second. Alright, so I'm not a financial advisor. I don't pretend to be one on the internet, but I have my own experience and my own sort of collection of resources that I've turned to in order to learn more about money and kind of update my money mindset. I know that how I think about money affects my decisions, like I was saying earlier, and so I chose a few years back to dive a little bit deeper. Back when I had just graduated from college and I was in my first job after college, I realized that I had no idea how to handle money. I remember having like a mental breakdown and being like, I don't know how to handle paying bills and budget and all that stuff. And I was a little bit worried about not knowing how to spend well. So at that time, I decided it was a good idea to start reading some books and figuring out what I was doing. But that brings me to my first book. This was the first one I read. Cheesy title, but let me tell you, this covers all the basics. So if you read this book by Ramit, Sethi, how to handle your money will be covered, and it's kind of in like this funny, sarcastic way, which I found entertaining. So this is definitely like cover the basics of just handling money. My next suggestion would be The Latte Factor by Bach. I read this a couple years ago, or whenever it came out. If you are like tired of boring money content, this is a story, and it talks about someone in their 20s figuring out how to earn better and handle money better, save better. So if you want a story about money, this is a good one to turn to. I got a classic up next, Tony Robbins. He's very well known and has written a couple books about money. This one's much thinner than the other one, but this one actually starts to get into some of that money mindset. So it's called Unshakable because it's about basically being able to handle any situation, and that means financially and mentally. And so this is a good suggestion if you want to sort of feel more in control even when the outside circumstances are affected, which is super relevant to just, you know, what we experienced about a year ago when the pandemic hit. A couple others here. If you want sort of like a fun approach to money that's all about money mindset, You Are a Badass at Making Money is a good one. Obviously, it's really focused on earning. I've read about half of this. I didn't make it all the way through. I think I picked this one up a couple years ago as well. And this one's just more of like a fun, lighthearted money mindset focused book. And then we've got the one I'm reading now, The Abundance Project by Rydall. I mentioned this in my book video for this year, personal development books that I'm reading this year, 1 of 10. If you're interested in hearing what else I'm reading this year, definitely check out that video. But this one is pretty good. I'm about halfway now, maybe a third of the way. It's a little bit more sort of on the like almost spiritual side a little bit, and has some really good metaphors in it. That's what I like about this one. So those are a few money book suggestions, and obviously they kind of take a different angle or have a different sort of flavor to them. So if you're interested in any of those, definitely pick it up, order on Amazon, all good books. And I think just choosing to read a book about money takes a little bit of the stigma away. People don't really talk about money, and it's kind of like this societal thing, and when you get more comfortable reading about money and thinking about money, you get more comfortable talking about money, and it can kind of just, like I said, take away that stigma. And same is true when you listen to a podcast. So let me pull it up and see what kind of podcasts I listen to related to money. I think there are a lot of really good podcasts out there about business, and obviously that relates to earning. One that I would highly recommend is someone named Sam Laura Brown, who has a podcast. She's been doing this for several years now. I actually did a little bit of work for her in the past and have been a huge fan of her work around perfectionism. And she's one of these people that fully believes in being open about money. So she shares openly the numbers throughout the growth of her business. If you're interested in hearing about that, she does these monthly personal growth updates, and in a lot of those she shares about her monthly earnings and spending on different sort of personal development resources and stuff. So investing in herself, investing in her business, would definitely recommend. Tony Robbins, who I mentioned a moment ago in relation to his book Unshakable, when the book came out, he actually created a podcast. So there's several different episodes related to this book that you can follow along. So that's Unshakable, Tony Robbins. You can look up that podcast. I remember listening to those and thinking they're really good. Okay, I love Marie Forleo. I've mentioned her several times before. Her book was one of those that I reread this year. It was actually the first one of the year, and she's got some great podcasts about business and money. So the Marie Forleo podcast, I would definitely recommend those episodes within her podcast as well. So those are a few podcast suggestions. And then the one YouTube channel that I want to recommend is called CNBC Make It. They have this series called Millennial Money. I know if you're a millennial, you probably don't like the word millennial, neither do I, but it's a really good series, and they actually show specific people how much they earn, how they divide that into savings, investing, spending, piece by piece, and they talk about, you know, their career path a little bit, how they got to where they are today, and how they make those decisions around money. It's super interesting, and it's like super transparent. So definitely check out that resource as well. As I mentioned, reading about or listening to something about money is just gonna get you a little bit more comfortable, which I think is the first step to really improving your money mindset. So as I said, a few years back, I had a little breakdown, didn't know how to handle money, started reading about it, started listening to some podcasts, and it's been a long journey from there. But at this point, I am looking to do some more reading, some more exercises around money to help me be more comfortable with earning larger amounts and not self-sabotaging. So that's kind of the next step for me. What you doing? Do you want to be a part of this conversation? All right. Oh my god, I'm so tired. It's like 9 o'clock now, and I did just watch like 6 of the videos for the CNBC Make It Millennial Money thing. They're great. They're great. They're only like 10 minutes each, but I'm pretty sure I just spent the last hour watching them. Anyways, there is something specific I wanted to mention, and I don't know if it's just because it's late. Well, like it's late in grandma terms. I feel like one of the most important things to acknowledge when it comes to money and money mindset is that so often we associate our worth as a human being with our, you know, earnings and our earning potential, and it's really easy to feel like you're having trouble acknowledging your own worth as a person, and that's kind of affecting how much you believe you deserve at work, in terms of salary and money. And I know this gets really serious, but I think it's worth just mentioning that if we can build that self-worth, more often than not, that actually helps us with our earning potential. It comes back to that same loop I mentioned at the beginning. What you believe affects what you think in your head, which affects what actions you take, which affects the results that you experience in your life. And if you're having trouble with believing in yourself, then that's actually going to affect what you think and how you act and the results you experience in terms of your performance at work or in your business. And I just think that this is so important to acknowledge so you can take the necessary steps to to make the change from the inside out, and it's not just about like saying the right things when negotiating your salary, even though that helps. It really comes down to self-belief and believing in your worth. So didn't mean to get all serious, but I feel like that's a really important piece to think about when it comes to understanding how we can actually think differently about money and what we can earn. And I do have a little strategy that I know works for me, and we all experience self-doubt. I mean, that's just part of being human. So if you ever notice that at work or in some sort of like financial situation, you're feeling unworthy, what usually helps me is a strategy from someone named Forleo, who I know I've mentioned before, and it's called the flashlight strategy. This really works with anything you're nervous about, but especially around like money and questioning your own value. If you imagine that there's a flashlight and when you're feeling nervous or unworthy, you're shining it on yourself and that's where you're focusing and how you lack. If you sort of take that flashlight and shine it outwards at the work that you're doing and how interested you are, how curious you are, how passionate you are about that work, it just changes the game. It kind of just like flips the whole situation. So if you're ever feeling self-conscious about the quality of the work you're doing. And, I've definitely faced this with just thinking about making progress in my side gig and actually charging a certain amount. It really takes just shifting that energy towards the work, towards who you're serving, towards what you're actually doing and your interest in it, in order to just think differently about the situation and just kind of crowd out any sort of self-doubt with being preoccupied with the thing that you're doing. So I hope that helps, and I'll probably talk to you again tomorrow. Good morning. It is a Monday morning before work, next morning. And I feel like there's one more thing that we need to do, and that is an actual money mindset exercise. There's a ton of these out there, and I'm trying to familiarize myself with them a little bit more so that I can kind of test them out. It's basically like a journaling thing that you would do to go outside some of those money beliefs. So I want to figure out what one of those looks like and basically test one out. So where else would we turn to than Google? So I'm going to just Google money mindset exercises and see where it takes us. Okay, so a lot of these are like not actual exercises, but let's see if there's like a journaling prompt or something. Put $100 in your wallet. You'll think of all the ways you could spend it throughout a day. I would just be worried I'd lose it, honestly. That's why I don't carry that much cash around. All right, okay, I'm reading through lists of ones that kind of suck, so I might just make up one of my own. You know what I think would be cool is doing one around like earning. Like I was talking about earning more and getting more comfortable with like seeing your value and stuff. Like who would you have to be to earn this level, and kind of like naming those qualities. I think that would be cool. So I might just kind of list out, if I were to earn this much, who would I have to be, and sort of like imagine myself in that position, because I think it would be cool to kind of like imagine yourself earning different amounts and what that looks like. All right, let's dig in. So I'm just gonna call this earning power. I'm writing down amounts of money slightly above what I earn right now, and then all the way up to what seems like outside the possibility. And then I'm gonna write down the question, who would I have to be to earn this much? And what would that look like? Go ahead and grab your journal if you wanna follow along, and let's do this. So that was actually really interesting. I'm glad I made that up on the spot. I only wrote like a sentence or two because I honestly need to go to work in a couple minutes, but it was nice to just like go through, and I actually wrote down 5 million here. I think it's important to put like a number that's way out there too, and just think about that to see like what comes up for you and like what you think when you hear that. So I just put that and was thinking about like what that would mean to make that much. So I think it's just worth doing stuff like this to open up your mind. And if you haven't yet watched my video about the different amounts of money that I've earned since college, it's actually really interesting because at any given time I could be earning different amounts of money, vastly different amounts of money. So like I've earned both $14.50 an hour and $100 an hour. I've earned $12 an hour and $50 an hour, like simultaneously at the same point in time. And so it's interesting to think that even like doing different things, you're valued at different levels. Yeah, definitely check out that video. It's interesting to kind of hear the whole range of amounts of money earned. So I definitely encourage you to test out this money mindset exercise, or maybe you'll have better luck Googling and you'll find something interesting. But yeah, so I'm gonna go to work, but thanks for following me around for a couple of days as we talk about money and money mindset and thinking outside the box about what you could earn. And we will leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this topic, you want me to chat more about money, definitely give this a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me popping up in your feed, definitely click subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!